Hey there, everybody, and welcome to episode 43 of the Galactic Window Space Podcast. My name is Nick, and in black and white, I am known as the Orbital Alliance.
And I am still just Tan, also known as Chasing the Milk.
Milking the chase.
Yep. Welcome in, everyone.
Glad to have everyone here tuning in on YouTube Live or Twitch Live, also in the audio replays after the fact on your favorite audio streaming platforms like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, whatever butters your toast, where podcasts are served. We're glad you're here. We're glad you're tuning in, coming in hot to learn about space and astronomy. Got a whole bunch of really fun, deep topics lined up. A lot of relevant space news that has been going on this week. Let's break some of those things down. Space discussions about some topics maybe you've never thought of before. We've got them for you right here on the Galactic Window, as well as maybe some happenings that might be coming up in the next week. We'll be discussing a few of those things, Tan and myself. What do you think, Tan?
I like it a lot.
I like it a lot.
I like it a lot. Real quick, there's some of you all over on TikTok. I'm only going to be streaming the first 25 minutes over there. If you guys want to hang out with us, we are live right now on the other platform. You guys can probably figure out which one that is. But if you just go in there, type in the Galactic Window, you can hang out with us in the chat here. But I do see you guys over there. It's just really difficult for us to engage with you. But we hope you guys like it. And if you do, please come over here and say hi.
Pull up.
Pull up. Do it. You won't. All right. So space stuff.
Dude, so much space stuff. I really quick want to just say before we kick off, a huge thank you to everyone who supports us in so many different ways. The podcast has been going on since September of 2023, and so many of you guys have been viewers since day one. And if you've been an OG viewer, first of all, shout yourself out in the chat. But I want to thank everybody who's been a viewer, no matter in what capacity, whether you're there from the beginning or if you just started watching tonight or listening today. You guys mean the world to us. Those watch hours are so helpful to us on the platforms that you're watching on and listening on. But also there's so many people who have chosen to support us through memberships and supers here on YouTube. And those things keep the machine running, keep it lubricated, oiled, supported, energized. They help us pay the fees that we need to host the show on the services that we have it on. And without you guys, we'd kind of be up a creek. So seriously, grateful for every single one of you. And extra shout out to those of you who are members on YouTube. You can see the stars next to your names in the chat. So everybody give some big fat W's for those folks.
W's in the chat.
W's for the stars, right?
We got a few people coming over from TikTok too. What up?
Dude, Tony's an OG. That's
Tony
for
is
sure.
the OG for sure. Solo Dolo's over here.
Solo Dolo.
Solo Dolo. What up?
You guys, if you're just tuning in for the first time on the audio versions of this episode, we will have the occasional visual that we show here on the podcast because it's primarily a video show. So be sure to swing on by later after the fact. Catch some of those pictures or clips or whatever we decide to show later. We will do our best to describe what we're showing to you audibly so you can enjoy it, whether you're driving or you're at work or what have you. But we'll also, we'd encourage you to just check it out and visually so you don't miss out some of the fun stuff. We'll also do our best to read any of the comments that we feature because we do feature our participants in the live chat occasionally. And we don't want to have you guys be confused with what's going on. No one's going to be left hanging. We got your back. Don't you worry.
Yep.
But yeah, lots of good folks showing up.
Cool. Yeah. Happy to have you guys here as always. I'm going to remind you guys to grab a drink, grab a snack, and we hope you enjoy the show.
Mm-hmm.
Episode 43, man.
Let's think about 43 in a few other languages. That's 43 in German.
Ooh.
That's
let's keep going.
43 in Espanol.
In Vietnamese is Momi ba.
What is it?
Momi ba.
Momi ba.
What'd you call me? Momi ba. That was close. Try it one more time. Momi ba.
What's the first letter? Is it like a B or an M?
Bom. It's a mix between a B and a M.
Okay. Bom.
Bom. Yeah.
Bom.
Bomi.
Bomi.
Bomi ba.
Bomi ba.
Yeah, dude.
Hey. Let's see. I don't remember my higher French numbers very well. I mean, I know trois is 3. I don't know 40. But something
43.
43,
43.
43.
Omelette du fromage.
Omelette du fromage.
And there's
Oh my
also 43.
Yeah.
There's that one.
Yes. Yes.
What's up, Day? Awesome. We got a nice crowd in here. We got people from over here and over on the TT.
Yes.
Cool.
Yes. I love it. Be sure you guys to participate in the chat as often as possible. Make some friends. Because if you come back next week, it's likely they're going to be here too, hanging out. So you guys can just say hello. Send a little digital wave to your buddies, your celestial buddies. You won't be disappointed because it's always good to be learning with other people. It's like it amplifies the spongivity.
Ooh,
Like that
I
word? Spongivity. When you're learning, it helps you seal the deal in there. So make some buddies. Everybody's welcome here. Doesn't matter who you are.
I'm excited, man. You got me all pumped up.
Oh, that's right. Nathan is he's my French expert there. Quarante trois for what it's worth. Okay, I don't remember.
Nice.
That makes sense though. Oh, so good. Dude, what do you say? We're gonna kick it off with. I know we talked about the lunar eclipse last week, but we both have some images that we finally got a chance to look at that we took. Do you want to showcase some visuals from the eclipse?
Yeah, let's do it.
Why don't you launch us, Tan?
All right, you want me to start it off?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so this is a little context here. We had an incredible stream over on TikTok. It was fascinating. It was amazing. Probably something that I won't ever forget. However, on the imaging side, meaning the photos that I personally captured, I kind of screwed up, and we're gonna talk about it. So here's my first photo here.
So click the layout because I think your photo is already selected.
Okay, how do I add the first one to stage? Tan.
Go to the layout on the second from the right, or you could isolate it too. That works. Yep.
Okay.
There you go.
So this is it. This is my photo of the eclipse. It's cool, but if you zoom in, you're gonna start noticing a lot of just unwanted artifacts, and it's not the crispiest photo. And I'll explain why. I had used a 200 millimeter lens for this photo, and in my head, I was thinking it would be plenty enough. But clearly it wasn't, and I'm not sure what was going on in my thought process. I think I was just so excited about streaming it that I had forgot that you need a little more zoom than this. So exactly, it is just a baby, but I really appreciate it. It still looks really cool, but in hindsight, I had definitely wish I had a longer focal length. So,
I think just because it's not magnified or zoomed in doesn't mean it doesn't have a point. Like when I look at this picture, I see very similar the experience that I had like when I saw it with my eyes. Like it's I know it's not the same, focal length, so to speak, as our eyes, but like it does appear small like that. The moon is not super close, and this reminds me of what I actually saw. So I think there's value to this image regardless, even if you're not like right up in its business. It's like,
yeah,
that's what I saw.
You're right. Yeah, I never thought about it like that, and I appreciate that. So this is one of the better photos that I've taken, and the next one is another wide photo. Again, didn't have enough reach, so I decided to go fully wide. But I also wanted to take advantage of the clouds that were rolling in.
Yo.
So yeah, this is just a single photo. You have the clouds coming in right during maximum. So the moment the moon is completely at its like max red, I think the whole thing lasted about 30 minutes. I think the clouds showed up within 15 minutes of that happening. So very quickly, I just snapped some photos, and we came up with this little guy here. Also another baby moon, but figured the clouds might help it a little bit.
Man, I there's so much charm in this picture. I am a massive sucker for like clouds in lunar shots, because it just instantly makes it feel like it's this like fantasy experience, like it's something out of a storybook, or but it's so real. And there's that glow, and the clouds are illuminated by the moonlight, like that. You're not shining a spotlight on it. It's not starlight. It's not the sun. Like, that's moonlight. It's so cool. And the stars just adding like that texturous layer to it. Oh, bro, come on.
Yeah, for those of you guys that don't know, eclipses will always happen during a full moon, and typically whenever there's a full moon out, you're not going to see any stars surrounding the moon, just because it's so bright. It's going to wash out every direction that is surrounding the moon. However, during a total eclipse here, a lunar eclipse, it's a really eerie and beautiful thing to see a full moon, and then just seeing the stars around it. It almost doesn't make sense, and it's really trippy. But so happy I got to see it.
Brilliant, dude. I think these are winners, man. I think they're huge winners.
Thanks, bro. Appreciate it, man.
Everybody, show Tan some love for his astrophotographical perspective. I just made that word up. I'm making up words tonight.
Glaze me, y'all. Glaze me.
Shout out to the 20 plus people who are hanging out with us live. That's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, we got a lot of new people in here. I see Skeetser, one of the OGs. A lot of people, some people over from TikTok. Again, if you guys are over on Talk, we can't really see your comments. Just know that you guys are watching it live. And we'll cut off the stream here in about 20 minutes or so. So if you want to hang out with us, come over to the other platform.
Galactic Windows Space Podcast veteran, Deep Sky Dude in the house. Welcome in, brother.
Welcome in, Teresa. Okay, cool. Awesome.
Dude.
Well, dude, let's see your photos, man. Let's see what you got.
Yeah, okay. So, you guys, I did something different. I tend to not do this. Which is when I do my astrophotography, I try to keep things as accurate to what I saw as possible. I do edit my photos, and I try to boost lights and darks and some colors sometimes, but I try not to go like way overboard, to avoid that kind of overly stylized artistic look, which there's nothing wrong with that, but it's just the way I prefer to do my photos a lot of the time. So if you go through my catalog, you'd be like, oh yeah, that's seems like a pretty accurate shot. But I decided to do something way more artistic with this. And I mentioned last week in the show about the lunar eclipse that I was streaming and snapping photos with my camera next to me, but I very carelessly snapped those photos. Like, I took, I set my focus, and every 20 minutes I was snapping some shots, and I did my best to remember that the camera was even there. But I wanted to make sure I got some progression of the lunar eclipse as it was happening throughout the event. Which was about 5.5, 6 hours, something like that. And when I went back and reviewed my photos, I was like, oh man, it feels like some of them are a little soft. Maybe I bumped the focus at one point, and I was kind of bummed. This don't feel very usable. But oh well, I got to live stream it. That's cool. Well, I dug a little deeper. I tinkered a little bit, and I salvaged it. I was like, you know what? I'm not going to focus on making a photorealistic image here, because I don't think this is the best way to do it with the photos I got. I have other eclipses where I've really dialed stuff in and stuff looked great. But this time I was like, let's hash this up into a slightly more artistic canvas. So
That's killing me, man.
Here's what I did.
What do we got?
That's yours. There we go.
Photo. Ooh.
This is what I did. I decided to take all of the stages of the eclipse that I could accurately, as close to get evenly on either side of the eclipse as I could get. So from full moon to full moon, stage it in a visual, like a timeline, overlap them all a little bit. So it kind of adds some depth and perspective. But then you could see the whole event. This is 5.5, 6 hours worth of photos, but in one image. And again, this is a composite. So, there's all sorts of things going on here. And I decided to take some artistic license. So I know it's easy to look at this and be like, dang, is that what you saw? No, it's just not. I added some stuff. So I decided, hey, I was going to do it over a black background just to have it pop. But I was like, no, I need some stars there. So that star field is actually an image I took 2 years ago out in Utah.
Oh, nice.
It's a wide field shot using my 14 millimeter Sigma lens.
W Utah.
Yeah. So I just took it. I adjusted the levels on the background, it made it a little bit darker, just so you could see the points of light and have some like texture behind it. And then I overlaid all the moons, and I adjusted all of those moons in Lightroom individually to try to match like the tones and stuff. Dropped them in, lined them up. I used some like guides in Photoshop to like line them up perfectly. And then I this is where I did something a little bit fun that maybe some people would cringe at, but I decided to just, hey, let's do it. I added some glow to any parts of the moons that had white. So anything that was lit up, I put a little glow behind all of it just to like make it a little bit more mystical, a little bit more magic, but also to help it pop because it adds that depth, adds another layer, you know, makes the moons look
3D,
a little,
bro.
yeah, it makes
like
it look
coming at me.
Right.
I don't know if the shrooms are kicking in or what.
Right.
It's yeah, it looks like it's about to pop out from the screen. Beautiful.
Thanks. And I decided to make the center image look a little bit larger than the rest, like not too much, but like just to feature it prominently. So I've been lovingly calling this one the necklace because it kind of looks like a beaded necklace or something like that. So
I like that.
Yeah. So I had fun with it, and I think I did this across like just a couple of hours. You know, Lightroom processed the photos, moved them all individually over to Photoshop, layered them up, went through like 4 or 5 renditions of exports before I felt like, yeah, this feels shareable. And then
Eclipse
boom.
version 1, Eclipse version 2.
It's exactly what it is. Yeah. This is version 5.
Version 5 final.
Yeah, final. Yeah, final 1. Final 01.
Dude, it's great.
Thank you. I'm pretty proud of it. I did one thing like this with the annular eclipse of 2023. I did like a circle. So maybe I'll just have to print both of those and put them next to each other on the wall. Who knows?
Yeah. Someone said, Day said it'd be a sick bicep cuff tattoo.
Whoa, what?
You know what I'm thinking, bro?
Hmm?
That on the next episode, we both get the same tattoo.
Oh my gosh.
On our bicep.
Streamed live from a tattoo parlor. Oh, dude, I don't have any tattoos, man. That would be a rude awakening for me.
Your first one just being a whole sleeve.
Yeah,
Hell yeah.
right.
Why not? Why not?
Oh man. Well, I have one more photo to show. This one is basically straight out of the camera, but let's swap it here. Kind of similar to yours, Tan.
A lot of C words in there.
We had clear skies the entire night. There was one little window where this is actually an expanded plane, like vapor trail that basically turned into a cloud. So it was a very long line of whatever it is, and then chemtrails, yeah, blew right across as the eclipse as it was ending. It was about like 3/4 of the way through the event. It just blew through real quick, took a few shots, and I was like, you know what? Let's just grab this and see what happens. So this was just something that I got too.
I just love how you can see so much of like the orange.
Yeah, you can still see the moon detail through the clouds.
Yep,
they were very thin.
We lucked out, man. I think a lot of people did. Yeah, you heard it first.
I mean, it was all of like 120 seconds of this cloud blowing through, and then that was it. That was literally it. So had to capture it in some way to mark the occasion, you know. Yeah.
Beautiful.
But there you have it, folks.
Man, I want to shoot another eclipse now. I think it's gonna be a while till we get another lunar one.
Yeah, that's okay. We were spoiled.
I need more.
More. Get that Kylo Ren from The Last Jedi. More. Oh my gosh. Well, sweet. Well, what did you guys think? Did any of you in the chat who are watching live, did you guys have any photos? If you do, post them, tag Tan and myself in them so we can see them, because we want to see your work too.
Yeah. Tan, your mic is lower than Nick. Oh no. Let's see. I cranked it up a little bit. Hopefully that's better.
Yeah, you could probably go up a little, another click.
Still?
Yeah, just a little bit.
Okay, how about now?
No, Nick just talks really loud. That sounds more
Nick is always
accurate.
just screaming.
Ah!
I do have a softer voice than Nick.
It's true.
How about now? Is this better?
There you go.
I moved the mic a little bit closer to my face too.
I'll just like stop making out with the mic, and maybe that'll
Just
solve
do
our
it. You
problem.
won't.
Yeah, right.
That sounds amazing. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Next total lunar eclipse is in 2029. Space says.
Say what? 2029. Holy
4 years.
smoke!
Dude, I don't know if I want to wait 4 years for it.
You need some milk. My gosh. Well, Tan, you were sharing with me that you're gonna be traveling coming this week. What's going on, bro?
Y'all, it's going to be my first Milky Way astrophotography trip of the year. After all, that is what chasing the milk is, y'all. It's some of you guys are probably thinking a little naughty and thinking of something else, but chasing the milk is actually in reference to chasing the Milky Way. It's kind of how I started this whole TikTok thing. But yeah, Milky Way season is something I'm just extremely excited for. So I'll be heading out to North Dakota to shoot some Milky Way. And dude, I'm kind of nervous in a sense that it's been a while. It's been a whole year. So that means I got to figure out if I remember how to use a camera and stuff like that, you know? I'm going to be a little rusty, but hopefully it'll turn out well.
There's only one way to shake the rust off, bro. You got to do it.
You're right. I just got to get out there and do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I'm excited. We'll be out there for a little bit.
Yeah, that's awesome, dude.
Yep.
Yeah, that's you're like priming it up, dude. I think you're really setting yourself up here for the win in 2025. I mean, because the Milky Way core is it barely just showing itself now, or is it still a little too early?
It's showing itself up. You just gotta get up early. I was out for a few nights ago, and I think the Milky Way came up around 3.
Okay.
So from like 3 to 5, you can probably get a decent photo. But it's a lot easier in the summer where you can just get out around 10 or 11 at night and see it.
Okay.
But yeah, this will be the first light of the Milky Way this year.
Nice, dude. Early bird gets the worm.
Mm-hmm. I'm excited.
Dang. Yeah. Well, dude, wishing you the best of luck. Do you have any sort of like locations that you're looking forward to while you're out there? Specific spots, like, hey, I know this monument is here, or any types of like foreground or anything you want to get, or just winging it and seeing what happens?
A little bit of both. There's a few spots that I use PhotoPills. If you guys don't know, PhotoPills is a really good app to kind of plan out where the Milky Way is going to be. In other words, you can actually arrive on location and figure out exactly where it's going to be coming up. This makes a lot of this just gets rid of a lot of the headaches when it comes to like planning photography. So yeah, there's a few spots, but I'm also kind of just wanting to wing it too, which is kind of nice. I usually over plan. So we'll see how it goes.
Cool. So you're going to be MIA for the podcast next week, right?
Maybe I'm gonna try it. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, either way, in 2 weeks for episode 45, come prepared with some images, man. We will. I think I speak for everybody in here. We want to see what you get, like your goods, your haul. We want to see.
Yeah.
It.
I'm excited. Yeah, should be fun. Should be cool.
I almost said that I have never been to North Dakota. I've never done any photos there, but that is a lie. It's not true because I drove through North Dakota to get to Canada last August, and I just rode the east side, like straight up north. It came out of Minnesota, then went straight up. So I went through Fargo, and a couple other towns on the way up. So I haven't seen the western part of the state. And I did stop to do aurora photography because the aurora were exploding that night as I was coming back. I remember coming over the border from Canada, and I kid you not, I saw them like just as I was driving there. It was like just after sundown, and I'm like, why is there this huge light to my left out the window here? And I was like, the moon is over here to my right. There are no street lamps. I'm in rural nowhere, and I looked, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh!" I'm like, it's driving off the road. Yeah, and it's like this huge green wall to my left, and then I turned on my cameras on my screen from my like rear view camera on my car, you could see the aurora in the camera view, like on my car. And I was like, holy smokes. Like this, I'm getting this huge show. I'm driving south. So as soon as I got through the border checkpoint, I flew out of there. I like told the guy, I need to go quick. I got to get out of here. There's like,
you, bro.
Yeah. And I'm like, boom, blew out of it. I drove like 10 minutes and I got out of the lights and I pulled off into some farmland, got eaten alive by mosquitoes, but I did take some aurora photos on the border of Canada and North Dakota. So I have imaged in good old ND, but not for milk. It was for aurora. So,
dude, we're going to have to plan a Milky Way trip, and we'll have to make it a special episode for podcast.
Oh, 100%.
The trips are so much more than just a trip for me. It's almost like a reminder of like why I even do what I do. But it's the one thing that I don't know. I guess it's like the one kind of photography that really I don't know, fills up my meter, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's interesting because when we talk about Milky Way season, most of the photographers are referring to photographing the core, which is only visible between, let's say like early like March to September, right?
Mm-hmm.
So outside of that, like during the winter, we have Orion and stuff, but we don't have the Milky Way core. And it's almost like this, like I don't know, man. I just feel like I've been longing for it. So I'm excited to get the gears rolling again. This will be the first trip, and just really excited because I'll be venturing out to somewhere new, and yeah, man.
Yeah, I think your experience is pretty similar to how I feel when I know I'm going to Taco Bell, but I still have like an hour, and I'm just like, satiate me, you know?
Yeah, dude.
You're amped.
I am.
Cool. Man, I'm just like, it's making me think. I'm like, what should I be doing this year? I have 0 astro trips planned, you know, and I'm like, oh gosh, I need to freaking do something.
Star party.
I know it keeps Okie-Tex is like
Okie-Tex
front of mind.
Yeah, Deep Sky Dude said he was going to go to Texas Star Party here.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way to do it.
Ooh, got some land in West Texas. Should come down to camp for free.
What? Say no more.
What?
I'm in.
Are the waffle fries for free?
Yeah, man, that sounds awesome.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, maybe that's not worth sharing. Thinking out loud here. My gosh, dude. Well, here's the thing. I wrote this like mega list down of all these things I wanted to hit tonight because there are, I think, unbeknownst to most, there's all kinds of space occurrences and news items that happen every single day. Some of them slip under the radar, but I thought a lot of them made for a really good topic of discussion. So I wrote down a bunch of stuff. So what do you say? You want to do like sort of like a shotgun of space topics and see what happens?
Yeah, let's do it.
It'd be like getting reps in at the gym, right?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's go.
Real quick,
Mm-hmm.
just one more time. There's this good chunk of you guys over there on TikTok still. And if you guys are over there listening, just know that I can't really see your comments. I kind of can, but it's really hard for us to engage. So please, if you do want to hang out, come over to the other platform. I mentioned it down here somewhere. But if you like it over there and you're cool, then that's fine. Just know I won't be able to see your comments.
He's lying. We're really upset with you.
Yeah. Yes, this is true. Yeah, let's do it.
Come to the dark side.
Come over here, y'all.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you guys, if you've been watching for a while, you knew that back in November we had a guest on the show who's an absolute legend in the astrophotography realm. Some of you may know Andrew McCarthy, or otherwise known as Cosmic Background on social media. And he does this insane tier of photography. He's basically the only one on that level in a lot of ways. Amazing work. But I saw he posted something pretty cool, and I'm wondering if I can find it to share. I'm sure he'd be appreciative of the support because we would 100% give him credit. But let me pull him up here, and I'll showcase his page. So he did something cool where he oh gosh, okay, I don't know. This is getting out of hand. He photoshopped out the planet Saturn.
Oh, that should be good.
Hang on here. Just give me a second. Let me see if I can present here. My tabs. Give me a moment. Let me try to explain and to function at the same time. Chrome tab. Oh, there we go.
Here, while you do that, I'm gonna pin this real quick.
Do it.
Someone was asking about star parties. Yeah, they're sprinkled all over the U.S. Okie-Tex is, I mean, I've only been to a handful of them, but I feel like Okie-Tex was just one that I'll be going every year till I can. Nebraska's big, El Dorado, so many. Yeah, they're absolutely fun.
Okay, I've got it here. So Andrew McCarthy took the planet Saturn, which of course is known for its beautiful rings. Most of the large gas giants and ice giants have a ring or a ring system in some capacity, but they're either really faint or very small and thin. But Saturn stands alone. So he removed Saturn's rings from the shot. Hang on here. We gotta remove these and
naked Saturn.
Yeah. Can you guys see this? He said, to make up for this abomination of a photo, I just went ahead and photoshopped off the rings from one of my better Saturn photos. Hopefully this helps visualize what you might see right now if the dang sun wasn't in the way. So,
nice.
Because I think right now the Saturn's rings are kind of edge on based on its orbit. So he removed Saturn. Like, how underwhelming is the planet Saturn without its rings?
I don't care for it. Get it off my screen. Get it off.
This is kind of an abomination, isn't it?
It's crazy how much of a difference it makes.
Right.
I still think it's pretty. It's got those the bands on it, but yeah, there's just something about the rings that make it what it is.
Right. Yeah. But like knowing like your entire life that it's like it's the ringed planet and it's just not there. It's like something is off. It is wrong. It just feels incorrect.
Yeah. Blue Eyed said pre-puberty Saturn. That's good.
Yep. Yeah. How old do planets have to be before their rings come in? Is that?
Yeah. Wow.
Oh my gosh.
That's cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I thought that was worth sharing. It's an artistic license to it, of course, but I was just like, this is it's a perspective shifter, right? We don't take things as they are all the time. But I'm gonna scroll up here and show you guys the latest thing he put that I did not see yet. He put rings on Jupiter.
Whoa. Dude, that's pretty gnarly.
Imagine if the largest planet had rings like that. What a show.
Jupiter, Saturn and Jupiter hooked up.
What?
Came out with this
planetary dating show now. Oh my gosh. Cursed images.
Edition.
Right.
Yeah, it's a trip. Someone said, I don't like that.
Yeah, it's pretty weird. Well, get your fill. So we're going off of it now. But let me ask you guys in the chat if you want, or if you're watching on a different platform, maybe leave a comment on the video. Let us know if you could combine 2 of the 8 planets. Which 2 would you combine? Ooh. What features would they have? And what would you call it? Here's my question for all of you.
Everyone wants this one first.
Yep. Oh, yeah. Uranus. Oh,
I think
man.
Venus and Neptune would be dope.
Oh, that's a good combo.
Yeah.
This is reminding me of those Steak and Shake side-by-side milkshakes where you can put like 2 flavors.
Dude, is that still a thing?
I bet
Are there
it
still
is.
Steak and Shakes?
There is one right by my house.
Yo, we gotta go.
Next time you come up, dude, we're going.
Yeah. Steak and Shake. Saturn and Jupiter.
Oh man, yeah. I mean, those are fantastic. So maybe
Jupinus.
Juvenus.
Jupinus.
Abominations all day. I'm telling you.
Jupinus is wild.
Sorry. Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. What's up, Caitlin? Welcome in.
Welcome in. Yeah, welcome in. Welcome in.
Will you guys keep sending us the abominations, planetary abominations? We got to have like Chat GPT or Grok or something like render these images.
I bet you it would be pretty cool.
All right, yeah. Let's.
You gonna do it?
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna kill my screen share here real quick.
Okay. All right. While you do that, over on TikTok, I gotta end it because we have surpassed our allotted time. So if you want to continue watching us goof off, you guys will have to come over to the other side. All right.
You're so polite. Goof off is generous.
Yeah, I'm surprised they haven't kicked us off yet.
Yeah, for all this shenanigans.
Yeah. All right.
Make me an image combining the planets Venus and what did you say, Neptune?
Yeah.
All right, let's see what Grok can do. I don't have a lot of hope for any platform on this.
Bye. Over on TikTok, we gotta end it, y'all. Thanks for hanging out. But come over here, please. Come over here.
Yeah, this did not yield the results. It just put a picture of the two planets together. They're cool images, but they have nothing to do with like actually merging them. Maybe I could be more specific. Hey, Karen, how's it going? Welcome in. Welcome in. Marscury. Yeah. Jupiter.
Jupiter.
Urinary.
The hell is that? Urinary.
Oh my gosh.
That might. Urinary sounds. I just get uncomfortable saying that.
I know. Yeah.
'Cause I'm thinking of. Yeah.
UTIs.
Yeah. Precisely.
We're going there, dude. We're going there. Oh,
Jupiter or Jattern.
Jattern.
I like Jattern a lot. I brought in the trash. Hell yeah.
What about Mars and Uranus or Mars and Uranus?
Uranus. Mars and
Uranus.
Uranus. Maranus.
Maranus.
Maranus. Oh. We're mixing planets.
Yeah. Yep. So
Hey, we gotta add Earth in there too.
Dude, you're right. Mercury.
Earth. Jupiter.
Jupiter. Holy
Jupiter.
smokes, dude.
It works.
That's a good one. I like that one a lot. Jupiter.
But Mercury. Mercury sounds so funny.
If there were ever rails, we are off of them
Yes.
by a mile.
Plutern's good.
Vipiter.
Vipiter.
Oh man.
Mirror. These are all good.
They are good. You guys are creative. Thank you for bringing in the lols. If you're watching the replay, go find the live chat on YouTube because you can find the chat replay if you're watching it later, and just thumb through some of these things that people are sending in.
This might be the best one.
Urinary.
Urinary.
Oh gosh. My throat hurts for laughing too much. What do you say we keep moving on the topics, dude? What do you say?
Oh, this wasn't part of it?
No. Oh, we can keep going. I'm here for it.
Pluearth. Oh, nice.
Earth
Pluto
tune.
is a planet. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, I like Earth tune.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
Pluarth. Yeah, that's a good one. Pluarth. Oh,
nice.
jeez.
Okay, yeah.
Man.
Anyways,
Anyway, in other news,
excuse me. Hope you guys didn't hear that.
has anybody heard of the Fram2 mission to space?
Fram.
Fram, F-R-A-M, Fram2. I'll make a little banner here so we can. Fram2 coming up. Fram2.
I'm already interested.
Okay, so this is going to be a private mission to space that's actually taking off, or supposed to take off, on the 31st. So in about a week. It's a week from tonight. SpaceX is launching a Crew Dragon capsule with 4 astronauts, and they are all each from different countries. And it is one of the very few private only space flight that's happened. I remember if it's like the 6th one ever. And they've all been hosted by SpaceX. I mean, orbital flights, if you're not counting Blue Origin and their suborbital hops, which are technically to space, but in a different way. So they're launching these astronauts. I'm going to find the information here really quick because that would help. But they're doing something that's never been done before in space flight. They are actually going to do a polar orbit. So they're not going like a belt around Earth like most do, or in a close angle to that. They're going vertical over the poles, North Pole and South Pole. They're doing a 90-degree orbit around planet Earth. And this has never occurred ever in the history of spaceflight. So they're going to get the first look from orbit of Antarctica and the North Pole region.
Ooh. This is going to cause a lot of controversy to a well-known community out there.
Yeah. They may or may not see an ice wall. I don't know.
Dude, what if there's just a giant ass ice wall? Oh.
I mean, this would be the mission to prove it.
Yeah.
So
that's exciting. That's huge.
it is really exciting. Now let me pull up some data here. Okay. So you're going to be flying a little bit higher than the International Space Station. The International Space Station flies, roughly 240 miles above the Earth. This is going to be about 260 to 280 miles above the Earth. So it's going to be a little bit higher. The Crew Dragon has historically flown higher than that. The Polaris Dawn mission and the Inspiration 4 mission both flew, I think, at 300 plus miles, which is the furthest that anybody has flown into low Earth orbit since the 70s, since 1972, when the Apollo program went to the moon. So, so Fram2 won't be reaching that, but just to give some perspective about where the boundaries are. Pretty amazing. But yeah, we've got, let's see, where are these? Okay, so each of the astronauts, there's a guy from Malta, the island of Malta, which is in the Mediterranean, just south of Sicily. He's the mission commander, Chun Wang, and he is Chinese origin, but he lives in Malta. He's gonna be the commander. Then we've got the vehicle commander. Something that's something a little bit different. So I don't know. These are some foreign names, so pardon me for mispronouncing them. Jannica Mikkelsen. It looks like it says Janik, but I'm assuming it's Jannica, I'm guessing. She's the vehicle commander. She's from Norway. She's a filmmaker and cinematographer with experience in extreme environments, including the Arctic.
No way.
Eric Phillips is the vehicle pilot. He's from Australia, and he's a polar explorer and guide with extensive expeditions to both poles. Let me give a little bit of background on Chun Wang really quick. I kind of skipped that. Sorry. He co-founded cryptocurrency ventures F2 Pool and Stakefish. And he funded and conceived the mission. So he's kind of like in charge there. Kind of like how Jared Isaacman was for the Inspiration 4 and Polaris Dawn missions.
These are interesting backgrounds.
I know.
Someone in the crypto industry, a cinematographer. Yeah, what an interesting bag of astronauts.
Right. Paving the way, dude.
Yeah.
Reframing the definition of astronaut. None of them are career government astronauts who've been in it for 25 years or or whatever,
Right.
flown 8 missions. It's none of that. And the last one, Rabia Raj. I don't know how you say the name correctly, so I apologize. Mission specialist, German robotics researcher pursuing a PhD in Norway, marking her as the first German woman in space if the mission proceeds. So we got a lot of like firsts happening.
It's huge.
But you got to remember too, this is an American company hosting a foreign mission and supporting foreign space exploration, which I think is a massive win, huge win. Giving people the opportunity to do something that maybe their country doesn't have the option to do, but that's the benefit of commercial space flight right now, right? Something that is neat. If you guys watched the Inspiration 4 mission at all back in 2021, they modified the Crew Dragon spacecraft for the first time. Normally the nose cone opens. Here, hang on. I have one. Hold on.
Bust it out.
Here we go. Here's what a Crew Dragon spacecraft looks like. Let's put it in front of my face so it pulls the focus. It's like this little,
cool
little cone. 4 people fit in it. But you see that little slice up at the top? The nose cone there opens up. And that's how they dock to the International Space Station. There's a mating adapter on it. And they come in, they dock that way. But they replaced the mating adapter entirely because Inspiration 4 was never meant to go to the space station. But they wanted to give the astronauts inside the best view possible of planet Earth and the night sky. So they replaced it with a 360-degree cupola window with no frame. It's like literally a dome, like a bubble. So you could like swim up and do it. And you can just look in all directions or take pictures. And there's some amazing video. So look up like Cyan Proctor or Haley Arsenault, Jared Isaacman, those guys who were on that mission, and look up their pictures and their videos. They were super cool. But they're actually bringing that back. They're reinstalling the cupola window on this particular Crew Dragon capsule.
How cool is that?
I know. It's so nuts.
Nice.
Sorry, I feel like I'm like going. If you have something to say, Tan, please tell me to shut up. I feel like I
got nothing. I'm shooting blanks. I'm just really fascinated. I'm just listening, man. Soaking this all in.
Yeah. So they're going to be conducting scientific research on this mission, studying things like Steve. For those of you who are Aurora hunters, have you heard of Steve?
Oh, the Steve.
Which is a type of aurora. So studying unusual light emissions resembling auroras, such as green fragments and mauve ribbons, linked to the phenomenon known as STEVE, which is an acronym for Strong Thermal Emission Velocity Enhancement, observed at altitudes of 400 to 500 kilometers. So they're going to try to catch STEVE from space, which is cool. They'll be doing experiments on the human body, determine the effects of space flight, which is typical for every flight, basically, at this point. Taking the first X-ray images of a human in space.
Whoa.
That's pretty cool. Like I said, they're gonna be studying the poles, so they'll be doing imaging, the first imaging of the polar regions from space. The International Space Station does not go over the poles, so they don't get the chance to do that ever. I think I did read that previously the sharpest orbital angle, that's close to what they're doing here, was recorded in 1963 by the Russians, which reached 65 degrees of angle. So that's an additional 25 degrees. So, we really haven't dabbled in this ever. And here it is, 2025, and we're making it happen.
So many things are happening. Like historic. We just had, was it Blue Ghost?
Yeah.
Right? I don't know. Perhaps this is kind of the time in which there's all these new private sectors coming out, and it's almost like using one historic moment as motivation to launch the next one. I feel like it's going to be like a snowball effect. There was a huge gap in time where not much was happening, and then now it's just going to be one after another.
Right.
Which is cool, which is an exciting time.
Yeah, it's kind of goes back to what we were talking about last week. Like, I think you had asked me a question when we were talking about, you said like, why don't people know about this stuff? Because I think I had said something like it. Oh, we were talking about the blue ghost and how I said most people have no idea that this picture of an eclipse from the moon, like no one has any idea that it's happened. And if they did, most people wouldn't even care. And you said, why is that? Right.
Yep.
And my theory was like, oh yeah, lack of education. But the thing I didn't mention that I think maybe what you're thinking about here too is just like it's the inundation and the numbing almost to the pace that we're going on. That these big events are happening every day, all the time. So it's like, why? Okay, so we did something cool, whatever. You know?
Yeah.
Whereas in like the 1950s, Sputnik goes up, 1957, and everyone's like losing their minds because that hasn't happened ever. Artificial satellite in orbit, and then by the time the sixth Apollo mission happens, people are like, yeah, okay, whatever, quit spending our money on this. You know?
Do you think that's going to be more prevalent now? Are you saying there's going to be a time where we finally, like, hanging out on the moon is a regular thing?
Mm-hmm.
Do you see people just like scrolling past, like, oh, they just did another TikTok video on the moon? Next.
Yeah, I think so. I think it'll be pretty normal.
That makes me sad, man.
It does. And I feel like it'll be sooner than I would want it to be.
Yeah.
I think if we get people on the moon in the next 5-10 years, I think within the next 20-30 years, kids that grow up are not going to care as much. Some of them will, but I think in general, it's like growing up with iPads. Like iPad technology would have melted our brains as children, even in the 90s, let alone the 60s or 70s or 80s. But like, yeah, whatever. Okay, so it's got a touch screen. Yeah, my 5-year-old doesn't bat an eyelash at something with a touch screen. It would have freaked me out as a kid, you know. Yeah. So like, I'm sure there will be some kind of a numbing and an acceptance, but there will always be explorers though who are curious.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. I guess we'll see.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, Fram2, get excited. Pay attention. I believe it's launching out of Florida, which is where all human spaceflight comes from out of America. So pay attention to the Space Coast at Kennedy Space Center starting next week. There's, of course, with humans on board, they take launches extra cautiously. So the likelihood of a scrub, meaning a delay, is usually pretty high. Weather can impact it. Mechanics and engineering stuff aboard the craft can also affect launches. And I learned the hard way once that even if the weather is 100% ideal on the Space Coast, weather out in the ocean where the emergency landings can happen also plays a factor. So they will delay the launch if there's weather that's bad out in the Atlantic. But also, if they're launching in a different direction this time, I wonder how much of a factor that'll play. I guess anywhere that they attempt to land an emergency landing has to have good weather, no matter where it is. But I mean, I went down to see Crew 3 launch in 2021, and I was there for 3 days. It got delayed the first night I showed up because weather was bad over the ocean. And then the next day they delayed it again, and then they delayed it again. And then I left and came home. I missed the launch, and then they delayed it like a whole extra week because they just couldn't get ideal weather. So annoying.
Imagine if you were chasing that. You're like, I'm going to extend my trip. It's for sure going to be on the 4th day.
Yeah. It would have been an expensive extension, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Would have spent like a couple $1,000s in hotel fees just to make it happen. So, yeah, you guys pay attention to this one. This one's worth watching.
You said the 31st? Tentative?
I think it's the 31st. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Cool.
Yep. So yeah, follow the astronauts on social media. I bet they all have accounts. I know I'm following them in some places. But maybe the app that you're on, try to find them there. And get the up close view as it's happening. There's something exciting about that. I love paying attention in real time. And I hope you guys do too. So make the effort if you can. Go find them this week.
Do it. Go.
Do it, you will.
Do it, you will.
So, dude, I had some pretty cool prompts hit me in real life, and I wanted to run them by you and see what you think. Are you up for a discussion?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So I had a friend, my friend Carter. Shout out to Carter, who I know is as a longtime listener and hangs out with us. He asked me what might happen if other countries outperform NASA to the moon or Mars. As in, what if they beat us there? Like, what would that do to American spaceflight as we know it?
We'd have a meltdown and say that they're all fake.
Uh-huh.
No, that's a really good question. This brings me back to the good old space race.
Yeah.
I'd hope that we would be able to say, hats off to you guys. We'll right behind you. Like, maybe give us some kind of motivation to, I don't know. Maybe that's what we need too, man. Maybe we just need someone to knock us down on our feet.
Right on our rump.
Yeah, because like, I don't know. That's a really good question.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it would be a wake up call for us, perhaps, or maybe it would give us some kind of motivation. Or at least I hope that's what it would be.
Do you think the average American would have a bruised ego?
That's a really good question. I obviously can't speak on behalf of all Americans, but maybe sometimes, like when I think of like America in my head, I still picture us with a huge ego. Because like, I don't know, it's always just been like USA, America, right? It's kind of like what this whole country is founded on. But at the same time, I could see other people saying, "Hey, man, respect to you guys." Like, heck yeah, you know. And who knows? I think it's always a good idea to pass on the torch. I think even if you're at the pinnacle of whatever it is, it's only a matter of time till someone else comes up, and that's completely okay. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But there's my answer. That's a really good question. I'm really curious to hear what people in the chat think, and if you're listening, ask yourself this question in your head too, and really think about it. I'd love to hear what your thoughts, man.
Yeah, it's an onion answer, and by that I mean there's just a lot of layers to it. Obviously, the political tensions in our country right now, I think, would dictate a lot of what happens. And I am going to steer clear of opinions or evaluations of things in that department. But I do think it does play a very realistic factor. So how it doesn't matter if it happens in this presidential term or in the next like, I don't know who those people are going to be. Whichever administration is in power in the United States at that point, I think will dictate the tone of that pretty quickly. So again, no commentary on that, but I think it will play a factor on how most Americans view it. As somebody, like you and I, both of us, and probably many of us, not all of us in the chat, grew up in America, learning history is sort of that America is just this continuous victor, right? Like we are kind of the winner, just the constant winner, which does a lot to your psyche. It really kind of imbues this expectation that we're always going to win. And I think if you take even half a second to analyze life, I think we realize pretty quickly that's just not true. And I think America has to pass on the torch in some capacity to other nations, especially as more and more nations rise to the occasion. And I think, and there are countries who are very quickly showing up on the space front in a way that has never been seen before. And yeah, like while the first space race was bred out of geopolitical turmoil, the Cold War, it got us to succeed. And heck, Russia succeeded too. They were inches away from getting on the moon themselves. Like we were all there. But I think as we come around here to like returning to the moon and then putting feet on the planet Mars, hopefully in the next 5 to 20 years, we're going to be seeing. I don't think it'll just be two. I think it'll be multiple countries. But I think people in America are going to have to come to terms with the fact that we can't always win, and it doesn't mean that we're losers. You know what I mean? I do think a lot of people will have a bruised ego. It'll be hard for most Americans to come to terms with the fact that perhaps another country will do it. But I think if you have the right perspective and you hold it in the right way, and it's a way that's like, hey, like you were describing, like, it's a good thing. And what's wrong with cheering on our global partners and the people, they're humans who achieved something incredible. Like a celebration is in order. Like, let's have a party. Like that's a cool thing. Let's like actually like go out of our way to congratulate people on the good that they're doing, instead of taking it as this huge political loss or this ideological failure. I don't think we should hold that way, but I don't know. You can't change everybody's mind, but I'm really hoping that if in the occasion that, say, China or Russia or Europe or whomever, Japan even, I don't know, sends people to Mars first, or it could be a private company too. I mean, it's probably gonna be SpaceX, let's be honest. But and hey, let's start the cause now. Let's get people on board. Like, what are we gonna say to these people? Whoever gets there first, like, congratulations, well done. You helped us take humanity to the next step. At least be my perspective on it. I hope it's not worse. I hope it doesn't become like a threat to people and people get all insecure about it and start making claims that are irrational. I'm just playing the optimist card though.
Yeah, I think we'll get a mixed bag.
Mm-hmm.
Because after all, we're human, and as amazing as some of us can be, sometimes we question some of the things that we do. But that, yeah, well said, man. In any case, I think this discussion is just a really important one to have.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think it trickles down to just every other aspect in life too. It comes down to just collaboration and being okay with collaboration.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know. There's just something really powerful about sharing the same idea with someone else and trusting that this truly is like a team effort. There isn't going to be like there's no competition, or if there is a competitive element to it, it's for the sake of like the greater good.
Right.
Yo, let me highlight this real quick.
Hey,
1 month on the board.
That's a 1 month celebration.
Let's go.
Well done. W's in the chat.
Space is beautiful.
It is beautiful. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing that like gives me a solid point of data. And I know we wanted to talk about this in a future episode, so I'm not going to spend all our chips here. But the International Space Station is a testament to what we can do as a species, right? Countries from all over the world came together who just a few short decades ago were literally killing each other. Russia, the United States, Japan, Germany, Britain, Canada, etc., etc. Literally firing weapons at each other and ending their population. And here they are, cooperatively, even still during geopolitical turmoil, allies in space exploration, cooperating the space station and launching each other aboard each other's rockets, because the mission of space exploration and human development is more important than all this political nonsense. Most people have no idea the space station exists. most people, the average person, doesn't know why it's there, and the average person certainly doesn't know what we're learning from the International Space Station. So what's the point then, if only a few people are aware of such a thing? But here's what busts my bubble here on this, with the whole I hate to use this term, the whole stranded astronauts scenario that's been going on. And again, like I said, we'll talk about this in depth in another episode. Whole other can of worms. What is the first thing that people clung to? Like, people did not care about the international cooperation and the partnerships. They immediately went to the politicization and the failures and who was to blame for why these two astronauts like had to stay up on an extended mission, which is all it was, an extended mission. No one was stranded. but people ignored facts. People came out of the woodworks immediately with no background in space exploration whatsoever. And everyone tried to become an expert overnight, which was really hard to watch, because if you knew even just a little bit, you'd understand what was really going on there. But people ignored 25 years of these patterns that have been happening already with human spaceflight to the space station, ignored all of it, and said, I see what I want to see. And what I see is X political opinion affecting this spaceflight.
Yeah.
So that's my point of data. Again, we can talk about that in another episode. My point of data to influence a little bit of how maybe it might go if like another country beats us to the moon or beats us to Mars. Like, I think there'll be a hefty dose of people who are going to see it how they want to see it. And hopefully, I just hope that maybe something like the International Space Station program has influenced more people in the United States to see it as a global achievement, no matter who does it. And it is for the human race. You know, I think the motto for the International Space Station is off the Earth for the Earth, or something like that. Something to that
that's
effect.
cool. I didn't. Yeah.
Yeah. Like it's that mantra. It's a headspace. It's a belief. And I hope more people figure that out by the time we get there.
Same. Perhaps it's our job to try to bridge that gap. I think there's always going to be that pushback. It's just part of the culture. There's people in the chat here. People have the most to say about things they don't understand, and because headlines drive what people think. Unfortunately, yeah, it's a culmination of all of those things plus 50 more of those. Yeah, we stay positive, and I think it's up to people like us who try to not really change anyone's mind or make them believe a certain thing, but just to simply share how beautiful it can be if you start learning a little bit about what's really out there, because
Right.
it truly is something that should be celebrated. And unfortunately, it's so easy for people to dismiss any of the things now because of political ideologies or whatever it may be, right?
Yeah.
You just gotta be optimistic about it.
Yeah. I don't know. I got heated there for a second.
Easy to, man. Yeah,
But I mean no harm.
I was gonna say, like you were saying, we might have to save another episode because we can. There's just there's so much. Yeah, there's so much I want to address, especially with after the astronauts, like landed. The kind of videos that I was seeing about the astronauts were just made me question reality for a bit.
You called something out. I think it was a comment here from Day that you recited a minute ago, which I'm going to repeat here. People have the most to say about the things they don't understand. Tan, just like, this is not meant to be a trick question, like literally asking in a simple term, like, when you don't understand something, what's the first emotion that usually hits you, or maybe people in general?
When you don't understand something,
something maybe big that you're like, whoa, what is that? I don't understand that. What's the first maybe natural emotion that surfaces?
Maybe some kind of like mix between confusion and fear.
Exactly. Fear. Right. And certainly, yeah, confusion for sure.
Big question mark. Yeah.
Yeah. Fear is incredibly powerful when it comes to impacting large amounts of people. And I think that's one of the things here. People do not understand space. They just don't. Most people's educations ended with the 8/9 planets, depending on when you grew up. And it was a poster on the wall in your classroom. And that's it. And I've seen so many videos of people who literally, like, at this point, like, can't name the 8 planets, let alone the order they're in from the sun. And if they can't do that, they certainly can't tell you who's on the space station, that there is a space station, why somebody might extend their mission up there, or why did X country get to the moon first before America, or go to Mars first. I mean, and people they don't understand it. So the first thing to do is cling to fear, right? Yeah. So fear is going to dictate thought processes and influence the way they interact with each other. But all that to be said, I'm really hoping, and maybe that's something that all of us can do. Maybe let's look at this as a way, as like a call to action for all of us. Me, Tan, everyone here in the chat, whoever you are listening, wherever you're listening from, try to be as informed as you can by the time we put boots back on the moon or Mars, so that you can help other people understand what's really happening and why it's happening. And from there, we can help garner and influence a desire, a greater urge and urgency to continue exploration instead of resorting to fear, which I think is going to it's going to put us in a chokehold. It's going to suffocate exploration. Yeah, I think it's kind of in our hands, right? Like, we set the tone. People, right?
Nick for president, everyone.
Yeah. Absolutely not. I'd be the worst president in the world. You don't want this nerd in office, that's for sure. But yeah, I think it's up to us. I think we can do better. And if you guys are in, I'll be there right next to you. Let's help people understand space.
Let's go a little further. Give me something actionable that we all can do. The average person too, because I think some people might even fear this, like, oh, it's on me. Like, I don't want to be responsible. Like, what would you say are some things that we all can do, just on a small micro practical level?
You know what I do is I like to make conversations at family parties weird.
Ooh, at the dinner table.
Yeah, exactly.
Bring up Uranus.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. I like Thanksgiving or Christmas or whatever. Like, the next time you just meet up for a cookout in the summer, everyone runs out of small talk. The weather you can only talk about so much. Your kids being in school, whatever. Like, that's boring. Start talking about space at those things. And I do it way too often, because a lot of times people will be like, hey, how's things going, on your end? And I'm like, so this cool space thing happened, and I'll push up my glasses, and then I'll talk their ear off for like 20 minutes about like why the moon went in front of the sun this week or whatever it is. Like, those are the moments that you can start like planting seeds, because 99% of the time when I talk about stuff like that, the response is, oh my gosh, I didn't know that. And I don't know what this person or the other 5 people who are sitting on the table are going to do the next time they go back to work. And somebody asks them, like, dude, did you hear there was something weird going on with the sun last week? Do you know anything about that? And they're like, actually, I have this super nerdy cousin or nephew or whomever who told me all about this over a hot dog at a cookout last week. And now I know exactly what that is. And then it's like a grassroots wildfire of information and knowledge.
Planting that one little seed at the dinner table, y'all.
Right. Well, I mean, it's like, make it your go-to, because, like I said, everybody's got those stock topics, but how many people are bringing space exploration to the table, literally, anymore? No one's doing it. And it always gets a wow, that's cool. I didn't know that. So like show up to parties, like do a little research, find like a what's happening in the night sky video. Go just type into YouTube space and see what comes up. Watch a 10-minute video, and then when you go to the next party, you're like, I know exactly what I'm talking about.
Love it.
So when the weather is crummy, boom. I know things. That's what you can tell them. You can do that.
There you have it, y'all. Learn some things and bring it up for dinner. During dinner.
Yep. And then when you stop getting invited to things, you'll know why.
But the people who will invite you, they're going to be inviting you to a star party or some cool space stuff.
That's true. That's true.
But yeah, Nick makes a really good point. It's literally just something as simple as that. Just planting the seed. There are so many ways to do it. Whether it's gifting someone an astronomy book, mentioning to someone that there is an eclipse coming, there's an aurora, letting them know like, hey, there's an app on your phone where you can look and learn constellations. All of these things might seem very minute and insignificant, but they're planting seeds, whether you realize it or not. Some seeds are going to grow, and some are just going to be there, but it's a fact that you did something, So I think each and every one of us can find ways to plant a seed.
Mm-hmm. Well, and the thing that's cool about it is it's not like you're like selling anything to anybody,
Yeah.
There's
It's
no
not a pyramid scheme.
Yeah, there's no need for like manipulation or anything like that. Like you're literally just talking science, which is so cool.
Yeah.
Like be the nerd. Just embrace the nerd.
Be the weird cousin at family gatherings.
This right
That's
there.
it. W weird cousin.
Oh man.
This is cool. One of the reasons why I got into astronomy and space exploration is because of a video I saw on TikTok by Astro Kobe. I'll have to check him out. I don't know who that is, but to take a step back, you saw a video. You're scrolling on your phone, going on with your life, doing your normal scrolling. Whoa, what is this? Oh my God, this is cool. Whoa, you're into astronomy now because of a video that someone made. Again, that person planted that seed in the form of media, and who knows how many people, have been inspired. So cool.
Dude, I forgot about Astro Kobe. Why have I
Who is
seen
that?
his
Astro Kobe?
videos in my feed? I used to get them all the time. Is he
Kobe.
Australian? He might be Australian.
I've never seen this guy.
Yeah.
He looks cool.
He's got like a multi-million following, doesn't he?
Sheesh. He's got like a mullet?
Yeah.
Hell yeah, dude.
Yep.
It looks cool.
Yeah, maybe the algorithm has just like weeded him out from my feed. I should look him up.
Kobe.
I think he does a lot of maybe he used to. I feel like a lot of it was very conspiratorial, kind of like leans into the conspiracy side, but in order to address fact. So he does have a style, or at least he used to. Oh, look at that.
So sweet.
Tan, I think there's more people than you know who would say the same thing. And probably most of them are here in the chat. They're here because you know?
If you guys are here because of me, thank you.
I,
see
dude,
these videos often.
I've said this before, dude. You were the first space creator I came across on TikTok. And I do remember seeing your stuff. And I was like, that's cool. He seems awesome.
Did you think that you're going to be doing a podcast with him one day?
Absolutely not. Never. And you know what's funny is some of my early videos that I remember seeing of yours, I think there was like a shot or two of like in your driveway or something.
Yeah.
And now I've been in your driveway.
I've been there.
I've been there.
I seen it.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's wild. Like that was a weird full circle moment. Random videos on TikTok, and then eventually I ended up in that place.
Bro, it is actually super weird. Like most of you guys probably know, but if you're new here, Nick and I, we actually met on TikTok. Like just by having mutual like astronomy creator friends. I would see him in live streams, see him in the comic section, and then it's kind of on the whim, but we were both planning to shoot the annular eclipse back in October of 2023.
Yep.
Yeah, and we learned that we were both going to be in the area, and we decided to link up, and we did. And it was cool. I was like, this guy's cool. Maybe we'll hang out another time. And we did. We met up again.
Yep.
There's actually a few of them in here in the chat, but we met up with some friends and for a Milky Way trip. Was it last year?
Last May/June. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Which was really cool. And then fast forward, we somehow thought it was a good idea to do this.
Yeah.
And it turns out it's been the best idea, to be
It has
honest.
Yeah.
Here we are.
I think I told Tan recently, he's reached brother status for me.
Yes.
Yeah. You know, like literally, like there's people in your life, and I certainly have them, you know, when they just ascend beyond, you know, acquaintance or friend, you know, they show up for you in the times when you don't ask, you know, and they become part of this like unbreakable bond of, I mean, you might call them best friends. I don't know. Like it's something different. I simply, I've got a lot of people. I was like, hey, you're my brother. Like that's who you are. And Tan is that for me, for sure. So, I mean, and here we are. We met on TikTok, dude. Yeah. Fist bump that. Yeah. So all y'all who are just hanging out on social media, never underestimate the power of the tools that are at your hands, because some people that you just follow or support, you might get to know them. They might get to know you, and they might show up for you in a time when you need them. You just don't know. So don't discount yourself or your ability to connect with other human beings just because they're on the other side of a screen. You know, it's a really powerful tool. Again, wield it wisely.
Yes. Big emphasis on that.
Yes. Don't go firing off DMs asking people to hang out. Like, that's not how it works.
What up?
You got to earn it. There is always a certain level of risk, but you gotta play it safe.
High risk, high reward.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. All jokes aside, just be careful.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it can be a beautiful thing. Just like anything else. You know? Just like anything else.
Right. Oh gosh, I love that Steph goes, here comes the McDonald's story. It's been shared many times.
Oh yeah, we skipped that part.
We did.
Well, that's where we met.
We had our first hang session in real life at a McDonald's at 5 a.m. in Kayenta, Arizona.
It almost didn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
So to give you guys a little context, we were messaging each other, but there are pockets of like where we were going to shoot and just the general area I was staying in. There were pockets that didn't have any little to no service at all. So there were times where I would message Nick not knowing if he had received it on his end, and I would have to wait. And while waiting, I am also in a pretty spotty area. So it was just a combination of both of those things kind of that was like the deciding factor of whether we were going to meet or not. So I don't know how long we were attempting to message each other back and forth, but we finally got to the point where we were both like, okay, I'm here. Can you like, let's just meet it here at McDonald's. And had that not happened, we would probably, we probably wouldn't have met up, you know?
It was hours, like most of the day, but hours at the very least that we were going back and forth. Like sometimes you'd text and it'd be like 3 hours before I would hear back from you. You know, and this is, I know that can be standard in normal daily conversations with people over text, but like when you're in the moment and you actually have a timeline that you're trying to hit and you're attempting to coordinate, like, and you're operating as fast as you can, that gets tense.
Yeah.
And
Someone
then
said McBro date. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good. Go for it. This is better.
Yeah. It was a good date.
to a date between two McPunks. we sl- we slept in our cars and it was freaking cold.
was brutal.
It was like I don't know. It was not even like it wasn't even like freezing, right? Or was it? It was like low 30s, mid 30s,
I think
but
it was
like
pretty chilly. Yeah.
cold enough to where being in a car is. And all I had was my light jacket like draped over me and a hat on, and I was like shivering myself awake, sitting in a car seat.
I just remember sleeping like crap. It was a bright parking lot, so there was really nowhere that wasn't covered with those like parking lot
Mm-hmm.
lights. So it was just a brightly lit parking lot, cold. But I was stoked. I was stoked that we met up.
Mm-hmm.
And then
And
shot
now
the
we here.
eclipse. Now we here.
Started at McDonald's. Now we here.
Hell yeah. The origin story of
Mhm.
Nick and Tan. Who got the nuggies and who got the mac? It was still breakfast time.
It was.
Yeah, I think I got the I don't know, the good old sausage and egg.
Yes. Correct
sausage
answer.
and egg cancer sandwich.
Yeah. Yup.
Real quick, do you guys like the sausage and egg McMuffin or do you prefer the McGriddle?
Oh, it's the biscuit, bro. You gotta go with the biscuit.
Oh, I've never done that.
Ah.
The
Yeah.
biscuit?
Yeah, I always get the sausage and egg biscuit.
Oh, nice.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the biscuit would stick to the roof of my mouth and make me super thirsty.
It does, but it's worth it. Although I would caution you if you're trying to save money, a McBuck. Don't get the sausage and egg biscuit. Get just the sausage biscuit. Those little squares of egg, they charge like $3 for. It's ridiculous. Like
Dude, I'm bringing my own egg.
You should. This was before the egg crisis. Like seriously, the sausage biscuit is like an order of a magnitude cheaper than the sausage and egg biscuit.
Oh, really?
It's ridiculous.
Does it come with cheese?
No, specifically about the cheese. I'm not a fan of with the cheese.
So just the biscuit and sausage?
Yeah,
Damn,
It's-
that's too plain for me.
it is plain, but it's good.
But it's way cheaper.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, let me read some of these answers here. 2 for 6. McPlatter. I don't know what that is. I've never heard of that. Get all 3. McGriddle only.
Hmm.
No McMuffin. I'm a biscuit girl. Bacon and egg biscuit. Some pancakes. 2 for 6 and 2 hash brown patties. Spam breakfast platter.
Mm.
I need to go to that McDonald's.
Dude, McDonald's
Nice.
is spam.
Mm.
Okay, Hawaii. That's funny. Bacon and egg biscuit. I maybe I gotta just defect to the bacon team. You know,
How do we get here?
I don't know, man. I mean,
How
first
do we
it
get
was,
here? What's happening? How do we get here?
First it was Jupiter, and now it's banter
What was it?
over
Urinary?
urinary.
Urinary.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay, I got one more big topic that I thought was pretty cool.
Okay.
This should be fun. I do have a few more, but we can save them for another time. Let's bring it back in. Let's lasso the conversation. Pull it back. I saw a topic be discussed online that I thought was really fascinating. It was the idea of introducing an atmosphere to the moon. So I guess the question for tonight is can you give the moon an atmosphere? And I should probably add a little bit of context. Technically, my understanding is that the moon has a trace amount of atmosphere. It's virtually a vacuum, but it has very, very tiny bits. And I think most of it is like residual from the Earth that's kind of captured. Somebody fact checked me. Blue-eyed, and maybe I'm looking at you.
Only looking at you, blood.
Yeah, our official planetary scientist on call. I used to do for work. For events like be an EOC, which is like an engineer on call for like live events. So if like something went wrong, like, hey, you got to go in the back and like fix the thing. You're our scientist on call. There we go. That's what you're going to be now.
Here we go.
Yes.
She answers, yes, the moon definitely has a small atmosphere.
Yes.
Oh.
Okay. So there you go. That's the fact you need to bring to your
Dinner table?
dinner table or cookout is, did you know the moon has a little bit of an atmosphere?
Yeah, while your parents are arguing on who voted for who, you can just interrupt them and say, did you know that the moon actually has small traces of atmosphere? Problem solved. Everyone's a happy family.
Mm-hmm. There you go.
Yep.
It's the solution.
Yep. That's all we need. Interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So I read this discussion and people got into it. And again, I don't have 100% validity on some of these things that I was reading. So please take it with a grain of salt. But it does make,
bro.
just trust me, bro. It does make for interesting discourse if we're going to get scientific here. So the moon has a lot of water ice. And from what I was reading, it sounds like perhaps there's a lot of oxygen in the rocks. I need a geologist to give me some better information on that. But you can release that and introduce it in gas form, and you could reintroduce some level of an atmosphere. I can't imagine that would be anything we could do anytime soon. Like it'd probably take decades or hundreds of years to actually create something like measurable. But some of the discussion actually talked about how like that, the solar wind would end up like kind of blowing that away. Because I mean, the moon has about 1/6 of the gravitational influence that the Earth does. But there's also no magnetic field, or at least not the same level of magnetic field that Earth has to like protect the atmosphere from solar wind. So it would disappear over like thousands of years if we did introduce one. It would just go really slowly. But it got me thinking, like, what would the benefits be of giving the moon an atmosphere? Like, would we ever get to a point where we could take a helmet off and walk around and be like, sweet, like, this is cool? Like, I don't know. But dude,
yeah, that's interesting.
But just imagine, like, all we've ever known since Apollo for 50, whatever the math is now, 55-ish years. All we've ever known is seeing people in suits on the moon because that's all we can do. But dude, what would you think if we could just waltz around the moon without a suit? It would have a sky. It would have a colored sky, like the Earth has a blue sky. Like, it wouldn't just be black.
With the atmosphere, I'm assuming it would reduce the temperatures, correct? Both heat and cold, or it would reduce the heat, but the cold maybe would it trap it? Would it be even colder?
You were in the right direction, dude, and I'm glad you brought that up because that was another bit I read about it. Is that it would make the hotter parts cooler and the colder parts warmer. Because it would introduce an element that could disperse temperature and create temperature regulation. Like for instance, like, here's a little bit of history. I for those of you who have been following me, you do know I'm into World War II pretty big. You guys ready? You can kind of see them. I got some World War II helmets back here on this shelf over here, actual World War II helmets. But the Browning 30 caliber machine gun, very American standard in World War II, had two variations. One was water cooled, one was air cooled, because as you discharge ammunition that creates heat and the barrel gets warm, if the barrel gets too hot, it starts to melt and misshape. It becomes misshapen, and then you don't get accurate dispersion of ammunition and bullets. So they needed ways to keep that barrel cool. There was a giant tank they would put around the barrel I believe it was in World War One and in early World War Two, they actually had to plug a hose in with a water flowing system so it keep water going around it to absorb that heat to keep it cool.
I had no idea. That's incredible.
Information no one needs to know, but here we are. But then the other one was air cooled, so they had holes in it, and it would just, instead of a solid barrel, it let air pass through it and disperse that heat more quickly. The same thing. The reason I bring that up is the same thing. Like, if you introduce an element into a place that otherwise is a void, you give it a reason to keep moving. If you create wind, it's going to spread out the temperature and move it around, and then keeping it in a much less hostile place. So yeah, I love that you said that, because the temperatures on the moon are ridiculously volatile.
Yeah.
Right? The exposure to the sun would kill you. Radiation exposure, it's so hot. But then when you get into the nighttime, 2 weeks of nighttime on the moon, it's like frigidly cold.
Freeze, yeah.
What if we could bring it to like moderate temperatures?
70 degrees Fahrenheit. Shorts and t-shirts.
Mm-hmm. Melt some of those lakes that are the frozen water that's in some craters. Like there's those craters in the poles that have like frozen ice, water ice in them. Who wants that? Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I wonder if that would create like this domino effect, and it would, or even like a butterfly effect, and it would just screw everything up.
Mm.
Like I don't know, maybe it would screw up the moon's orbital period around and trajectory around the Earth, and maybe now like meteors don't hit it as much, maybe because of the atmosphere. Would it protect it? Like meteors burn up in Earth's atmosphere, right? Before, so I don't know.
That's a really good thought. Yeah, I think to a degree it would protect the surface a little bit. Micro meteoroids.
Yeah.
I'm sure it would.
Ooh, you know what?
Ooh.
I'm gonna ask ChatGPT. What's the perfect prompt? What would it look like? What would the moon be like if there was an atmosphere on it, or is there a better way to?
Yeah.
What would happen if atmosphere is introduced on the moon?
That's a good idea. I'm very curious what it comes up with.
Okay, we're using ChatGPT, y'all.
Mm-hmm.
Introducing an atmosphere on the moon would create some wild changes, but it wouldn't be as simple as adding air and calling it a day. Here's a breakdown of what would happen if the moon suddenly had an atmosphere. The moon can't hold it for too long. Low gravity. The moon's gravity is only about 6 of the Earth's. It's not strong to hold on to a dense atmosphere for so long. No magnetic field. Without a field, solar wind would strip away the atmosphere over time. You were saying all of these. The result is the atmosphere would slowly escape into space unless it's constantly replenished. Yeah, that's right. They would need something that would supply that, right?
Mm-hmm.
The temperatures extremes would soften. Right now, the moon goes from about 260 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 127 degrees Celsius, in the day. That's crazy. And negative 280 degrees Fahrenheit, which is negative 173 degrees Celsius at night. With an atmosphere, temperatures would become more moderate thanks to insulation and the greenhouse effect. This would make the moon way more livable, at least temperature-wise. This is super interesting. I'm just gonna gloss through the rest here.
Yeah, I love it.
Wind and weather. If it had thick enough atmosphere like Earth, you'd get wind, clouds, maybe even rain.
Whoa.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to picture that. But the exact behavior would depend on the atmospheric composition and thickness. There might be dust storms since the moon is super dusty and it has fine regolith everywhere.
Dude, if it rains, that means there's gonna be clouds.
Yeah, that's just weird to picture.
It's like, hey, I can't see Tycho crater through my telescope tonight. Yeah. There's clouds over it.
I know.
Yeah.
This is really interesting here. Number 4, the sky would no longer be black. On the moon right now, the sky is black even during the day. With an atmosphere, Rayleigh scattering, like on Earth, would make the sky bluish depending on the atmosphere's makeup. You probably wouldn't be able to see the stars during the day anymore. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, that's one of the cool parts is like your experience on the surface would change significantly, and it would not be the same, and it would never be the way it was we saw when we saw it first ever again,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like at least from the human experience, maybe to
Yeah.
robots in the future when we're all inevitably dead. But
Yeah.
it would be wild, and that made me think too. If there's weather, if it would introduce weather like storms and wind, like the Apollo sites and the footprints would disappear.
Correct. And just to add to that, this is really interesting because you mentioned this. Astronomy would suffer. The moon is amazing for astronomy because there's no atmosphere, perfect clarity. Adding an atmosphere would blur telescopes, absorb wavelengths, and create light pollution if colonies are built.
Yeah.
So we don't want this to happen.
No. Yeah. I definitely
Interesting.
think this is a case of just because we can doesn't mean we should.
Correct. I'm gonna read the last one here. This is super interesting. Number 6 says you couldn't just breathe it. Just giving the moon an atmosphere doesn't mean it's breathable. You need the right mix of oxygen, nitrogen, and pressure to sustain human life. Otherwise, you'd still need a suit.
Mhm.
That's what I was wondering. I was like, would it be cool? Like, is it safe enough for us to just take off the helmet and chill?
Right.
And probably not.
Well, let's take a look at what happens on the space station. Um, Astronauts who are living on the ISS, are breathing a kind of a combination atmosphere, I think, of different things. But when they do a spacewalk, the life support systems in the EMUs, or the extravehicular mobility units, they have pure oxygen. If you transition yourself from the kind of the atmospheric cocktail in the space station to pure oxygen, you'll receive what is known as the bends, and you basically get air bubbles that surface in your bloodstream, and it actually could kill you.
What?
Because the way that balancing works out, it doesn't equate, and your body's like, what's happening? Why I was used to all these different elements, and now I only have this one, and this particular one, oxygen, is like causing me issues. So what they do is for the hours leading up to their spacewalk, they put on a mask with an oxygen tank, and they introduce it slowly, and they slowly like ramp their bloodstream to identify with a pure oxygen environment. And then they go safely into their spacesuits, do their spacewalk with pure oxygen, and then they come back in and reintroduce themselves to the other environment. Yeah, Sakura in the chat here, like scuba diving. Exactly.
It's very interesting.
Mm-hmm. Artie Jones here saying you would have to live in a bubble. Right. So it wouldn't quite solve the problem.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing too, is I think most people on planet Earth, if you ask them on the street, like, hey, what do we breathe in? Like, oh, oxygen. But I think oxygen is like what, 20 or 30% of our atmosphere, like that we breathe daily. Like we're breathing mostly nitrogen. And nitrogen is technically not good for humans, I think, or something that affected.
Should I stop breathing?
Yeah, right.
What do I do? I want the good stuff.
Yeah, it's a weird sensation, but yeah, I definitely think it's one of those things that I don't think we should do it. Now that I'm talking about it, I'm like, or thinking about all these different factors. Like, as soon as you said, Tan, astronomical observations from the lunar surface, massive potential for research advantage.
Yeah.
We don't have it yet, but when we do, stick a huge observatory on the moon, like we are not going to want an atmosphere. We already have that hindered experience on planet Earth. Like,
yeah,
leave it there.
no more TikTok moon streams.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Your focus is pulling on your milk carton there, dude.
oh yeah, whoa. Is it the 70% nitrogen that's happening right now?
Yeah, right.
What? Come back.
Oh my gosh, there we go. Yeah, so it is a curious thing to think about, though.
Mm-hmm.
I think it'd be more reasonable to think about it on Mars, like terraforming it with an atmosphere, and I still think there'd be a lot of problems, but I think Mars would be more applicable. I think we should leave the moon alone.
Agreed.
Is that your call too?
Yeah. If y'all are listening, leave the moon alone. If you know someone that is planning to do something.
Let us know in the chat too. What do you guys think? If you had the opportunity to introduce an atmosphere to the moon, a breathable atmosphere, would you do it? And given and considering all of the factors we just discussed, like how does that influence your decision one way or the other? Because I'm willing to believe that there's probably somebody out there who says, yeah, let's do it. Let's go.
Well, what would be like the number one reason to do it? Is it just to start building, colonizing? Would that be like the number one thing?
Probably. And practice for other worlds. We can do it on the little world that's like right next to us. It's probably the cheapest way to test technologies that don't exist otherwise, because we can hardly do that here on Earth.
Yeah.
I mean, we can make machines that convert certain things into gas or whatever, like fluid liquids into gas, but and watch what gets expelled from it. We can create vacuum chambers here and simulate things and test things, but the real thing is the real thing, right? So if we were to go into interstellar space, find a bunch of uncharted worlds, and say, "Hey, we got the technology. That one looks good right over there. Let's deploy some of those probes. Have them start pumping breathable air out of it. Let's go. New home, new colony."
Yeah, it looks like the general consensus is nay.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of like maybe for those of you affiliated with Dungeons and Dragons, sort of like the alignment charts. Like, is that a chaotic good decision? Like you're testing a chaotic option with noble intentions of science or expanding the human race, or it's kind of a chaotic good choice to want to terraform a planet. I don't think there's ever really a lawful good version of that. Just make humans that can breathe in space. Problem solved. Boom.
Oh,
pack it up.
Easy fix. I'll volunteer as tribute.
This is a classic topic we should definitely talk about in our controversy episode, which is humans need to fix the world first. You don't just get to make a mistake and throw the project away, says Hijinks in the chat. Yep. We've certainly built that habit, haven't we?
Pretty
as a species.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Not a good habit. Not a wise habit. But Tan's got the giggles.
I do. Got the giggles.
Well, what do you say? It's been an hour 50. Should we swing around third? Come on home. Got anything else to say, Tan?
Y'all rock. Every single one of you guys who's watching right now and or listening in the future, y'all rock.
You rock. Big hearts for y'all right here.
Yeah. We love these discussions. We love whenever we run off on tangents. We enjoy it all. All of it. It makes this show, this podcast, what it is. I think it's grown to be a lot more than I ever thought it would be. And it's probably going to continue to evolve. Yeah, who knows? Who knows where it's going to be, but we're enjoying it, and I think Nick can say the same, but we're very grateful for having you guys here, especially the newer people, seeing a lot of new people come in here, which is awesome. And of course, just a huge shout out to all the supporters as well. So
for sure. If you guys want to stay in touch with us, you can find us all over social media. I'm known as the Orbital Alliance. Tan is Chasing the Milk. There's our handles. You can search for us there. Definitely communicate with us when you can. Right? Leave some comments. Tell us which episode you're watching. We appreciate every one of you guys.
This is so funny to me. How'd you know?
Tan staying hydrated. Plot twist, it's straight vodka. It says Day in the chat.
Hold on. Let me try to act.
Tan's just been sauced this whole episode. We didn't even know
space.
it. Yeah. Dude,
Nice.
do you think we can make a space drinking game or something like, and just like
Oh,
have
dude, that'd be so fun.
a wild episode? Anytime somebody says International Space Station, Nick has to drink or something like that.
That would be one of the craziest things because I don't drink anymore. I have like a glass of wine maybe
Yeah.
once a month.
Yeah, same. I am very much out of the game as well. And anytime I feel like these days, anytime I consume an adult beverage, it's like one, and I'm like, ugh, why?
One and done.
Yeah, like this is the worst. I was like, I can't keep up with this. So yeah, I'm with you. Maybe we just make it a Mountain Dew drinking game. Let's just be honest.
Yeah, I'm in. I'll drink boba.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Problem solved.
Dude, I went to a bar with some friends, maybe, I don't know, this is like 3 or 4 months ago. And it felt so weird just sitting at a bar and ordering a drink.
Mm-hmm.
I had some kind of like IPA. It was
Yep.
good. But just that one can, dude.
Yeah.
That was it. That was all it took.
Yeah.
I was a completely different person.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, this is crazy.
Have you ever? This is going to be a wild tangent. Have you had any of those non-alcoholic beers or anything?
Mm-mm.
I have. I just tried them for the first time. They're actually really good. You don't have the stupid part.
But it tastes like beer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm. There's like all the major brands are starting to introduce them, and near me there's actually a non-alcoholic bar in
Dude,
a
that's
town
cool.
nearby, so
Let's
you can
go
go
there.
and yeah, totally.
Let's go there and actually get drunk.
Yeah, right.
We'll be like throwing up. We're like, whoa, what is going on? That'd be funny.
Yeah, that would be terrible. Yeah, with fast track of getting banned from a restaurant. Oh man, but yeah, I'm glad those things exist though. It's a really cool thing to see that culture shift a little bit. You know,
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
I wonder if it'll feel taboo in like 20, 30 years to young people.
Guess we'll see.
We'll see. Yeah,
Guess
who
we'll
knows? All right, let's swing it around here. You guys, everybody who is watching tonight, thanks for being here. Those of you listening in the replay, we appreciate you as well. Thank you everybody who supports us in all the fun ways. Be sure to come back next week, Monday night, 9 p.m. Central, March 31st, 2025. We'll be airing episode 44. More space and astronomy-based discussions ready for your ears. So come prepared. And don't forget to talk to your family about spacey stuff at your next party.
Do it. Also, don't leave Ash alone at the end of the stream, y'all. She's gonna be hanging in here.
Yeah. Oh, she's
guys-
here. I do see a comment here.
Yeah, you guys will understand
She's
what we're
lurking.
talking about.
Right. Yeah, everybody hang out with her in the post-stream chat until it automatically ends.
Mm-hmm.
All right, you guys. Love you all. Thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight. And you know the drill. We will see you all on the other side.